This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, it's a day of introductions as alpha male Hananya is reunited with an old flame. Will he and Patricia patch up their differences? It's a tense time for the team as Zoe the Gibbon meets her new partner Jake for the first time.
You never know what's going to happen with Gibbon introductions. We'll just see how this one goes.
And the park begins working on its biggest rescue ever. And it's decision time for Alison.
I'm confronted with the fact that there are 100 monkeys sitting in fairly barren lab cages, and I have to pick out 35.
Monkey World is home to 4 Capuchin monkeys. They are Tom, TJ, Gizmo and Terry. In the wild, capuchins are native to South America, but these 4 primates were rescued from the British pet trade.
Good girl.
Many people keep exotic wild animals as pets without knowing enough about their needs, and current British law does not give the primates enough protection. They have been discovered in appalling conditions. Monkey World's 4 capuchins were all rescued from solitary confinement, and for them, life today couldn't be more different. They live happily together in a family group. But they're soon to be joined by more capuchins, a lot more, as the park prepare for their biggest rescue mission ever.
Last year, Jim and I were actually approached by a laboratory in Chile that was home to 100 capuchin monkeys. And we were asked basically if we could rehome all of them, which was quite a daunting task.
Previously, the park's largest rescue was of 19 stump-tailed macaques from a laboratory in Britain. The prospect of now rescuing 100 capuchin monkeys all at once from South America is a daunting challenge.
So I've got in touch with the laboratory last week. I told them that we would be moving ahead as soon as possible so that we could take on half of them, or up to 35, probably individuals, I guess, and then get back to them, let them know how we've done, and consider the future of the rest of them thereafter.
The capuchins have been used for contraceptive and other medical research, but with tests completed, they are now free to be retired.
It's a sensitive issue. The politics with laboratory animals are quite harsh and severe, and I believe that the lab has come under fire in Chile already, and they know that Monkey World will not enter the realms of the politics involved on whether or not the monkeys should be there in the first place or not, but we're there to sort out the problem and to help the monkeys.
The park has a mammoth task ahead. They have to plan the move and build the new capuchins' homes, and nobody is sure what the monkeys' physical and mental condition will be like.
I suspect that some of these individuals will be quite traumatized and institutionalized in their behavior, and that's something we'll have to be very cautious about.
Later, there's a difficult decision ahead as Alison has to choose who's coming first.
All of the little faces staring back at me are making the task very difficult indeed.
Monkey World provides a stable home for abused primates that have been rescued from around the world. The rehabilitation process differs for each animal, and for chimp Patricia, it's taking quite a while. She lives in Hananya's troop of 18 and gets along with everyone apart from the boss himself. Hananya has been leader of the group for 3.5 years now and is respected by his females. They show their admiration for him through a variety of submissive gestures. But while the majority of the females pander to their boss, Patricia doesn't. Hananya finds her very attractive, but she's been playing hard to get. To ease the tension between them, they were separated.
The problem with her is she's got no idea of the social workings of being a chimpanzee. You know, she's obviously been on her own as a pet for a long, long time and always had her own way. Well, she didn't get any comprehension of that you got to give to receive. You know, this whole thing, it's a bit of give and take, and that just hasn't, the penny hasn't dropped as far as that's concerned yet.
Today, the two chimps are going to meet face to face once again. Patricia spots Hananya straight away as he makes his entrance. She heads up high. Hananya is entirely focused on Patricia, but she just doesn't know how to handle him. Animal manager Jeremy is concerned. All Hananya wants is her attention, but even though she likes him, Patricia doesn't understand how to show it, and he's just making her nervous. Hananya's frustration is starting to show, and all Patricia's screaming just serves to wind him up further.
Hananya!
The big male is still too daunting for Patricia, and she heads indoors.
There's no reason to give up yet, because this is the best place for her. We're going to persevere with this for at least a bit longer, because it is her best option. You know, when we think of all the other groups of chimps that we have in the park, you know, this really is where she ought to be. You know, we can only hope that at some stage she will get the idea that upsetting Hananya ain't a good plan. You know, and he's bigger than you and you're going to get a thumb.
Later, Jeremy checks on Patricia, and it seems her lack of interest in Hananya has pushed things too far.
Come down. He's bound to wound him up. You know, I don't blame him for thumping her, to be honest with you.
Monkey World is home to the largest collection of captive golden-cheeked gibbons outside of Asia. They are an endangered species, so breeding is vitally important. Gibbons pair bond for life, but for two couples, this wasn't the case. Raphael and Zoe, and Jake and Alex weren't getting along, so the park arranged an ape-wife swap. Today's a big day. Zoe is soon going to meet her new partner, Jake. But before this can happen, keeper Wendy needs to check on Alex.
Honey monster.
A couple of weeks ago, she met her new partner, Raphael. But things didn't go according to plan.
Gibbons cannot be left on their own and be mentally happy. They pair for life. That instinct, that need to pair bond is so, so strong. So we have to get somebody a partner. The only way of doing it is with these series of introductions. Unfortunately, my choice for her was not the right one.
During the meeting, there was a scuffle, and it was Alex who was on the receiving end.
These things are never predictable. They don't come with a booklet and tell you how to do these things. We went through our normal procedures with the introduction. Everything was looking good, everything was positive, until unfortunately the day we opened the slide up, he decided that he was felt under threat, and unfortunately he did a lot of damage to her arm. Gibbon canine teeth are very large and they're very dangerous. So one reason why we need to stay away from them. He literally, freak accident, managed to get both canines in the right place, and sadly he did so much damage that Alex has actually had her arm amputated.
The park's medical team did try to save Alex's arm, but the injury was too severe. It's now been a couple of weeks since the operation, and she seems to be coping well.
She was nursed fairly intensely for the first couple of days, but she is such a strong girl. She's done so immensely well. She's carried on. She's got to build up the strength in her arm. She's got just the one arm to swing on. She's got to get that strength up in that arm, but also to learn how to move her body, how to balance. How does she get around? But also I need to see whether or not she's capable. Do I need to make any changes to her enclosure? I haven't had to do that. She's just brilliant. She has progressed superbly well. It's a good idea just to give her some time on her own, let her settle down. We can assess her and watch her. She's quite happy at the minute. What we plan to do is move Raphael back down towards her. And if it was just a freak accident, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But they will let us know instantly. If I put him next to her for a day, I'll be able to tell, is there any aggression? Is there lots of aggression? Right, away again. And we look for a new man.
Next stop for Wendy will be the meeting between Zoe and Jake. And it looks like love is in the air.
The best result we've ever had. Instant attraction to these two.
And chimpanzee Jimmy heads outside for the first time since his knee injury. Monkey World in Dorset is home to over 160 rescued primates, from beach photographers' props to lab chimps.
So that you have
Today, major planning has started on what will be Monkey World's biggest primate rescue mission.
I mean, these guys are used to tiny boxes, so I mean, you know, dividing a 6x6 bedroom in two is like absolutely no problem. Yeah.
The park has agreed to rehome almost 100 capuchin monkeys, being retired from a research laboratory in Chile, South America. The plan is for them to arrive in stages and eventually live together in family groups. So now, Alison must decide which they want to take first.
And now I'm confronted with the fact that there are 100 monkeys sitting in fairly barren lab cages, and I have to pick out 35. And all of the little faces staring back at me are making the task very difficult indeed. My first gut instinct would be to say, okay, so if we're going to take 35, first of all, women and children first. Sinking ship, off they come. And of course, with the youngsters as well, the sooner you get them out of the lab, the less damage is done to them long term. So I think we're probably going to head for women and children first and see how we go with that.
The park is already home to 4 capuchins, rescued from the British pet trade. They live as a family group in a large house with an outside enclosure. But for the new arrivals, Operations Director Jez is overseeing the build of a new house and an extensive outdoor area.
For the first time in their lives, they're going to be able to actually come out of a solitary confinement situation into real natural trees, just really getting used to actually having that freedom, which they've never had. They're going to be able to forage for insects and just basically be primates for the first times in their lives. It's going to be fantastic.
The design and manufacture of the monkeys' transport boxes also has to be carefully considered for the 7,000-mile journey to Monkey World.
That's going to be stressful for a lot of them, so we need to make sure that we design the boxes extra special so that they feel as comfortable as possible. The one good thing about that is that they are used to small spaces.
The capuchins' transport and arrival will be just the first of many new experiences for these primates.
When we get them here to the park, we'll try and start socializing them instantly. And, you know, we're never going to give them a wild existence back. And let's face it, these guys are going to be so messed up in their heads anyway that that wouldn't be appropriate for them going back to the wild. But what we can give them is companionship, a healthy life, better fitness, fresh air, and, you know, a nice, relaxing retirement. And for the most part, I expect these little capuchin monkeys will be over the moon to hear, feel, touch, play, groom, and hang out with their own kind. And once they get together, they won't want to be apart.
It's going to be a busy few weeks for Alison and the team as they prepare for these new arrivals.
So the ideal would be to get as many of these all together in one group.
Coming up, golden-cheeked Gibbon Zoe knows just how to charm her new man.
Zoe is such a tart at times, just making herself look as beautiful and as playful and as lovely as she possibly could.
Monkey World's primate care staff are experts in rehabilitating rescued chimps back into social groups. But their efforts with introducing Patricia into Hananya's group have not been going so well. Chimp life is a volatile one, and scuffles do break out regularly. At some point during their last meeting, frustration got the better of Hananya, and the big male bit Patricia. So vets Femke and John Lewis and the animal manager Jeremy have come to see if she's okay.
Will she show it to you? Or you, Jeremy?
Come here. Come here.
Jeremy tempts her over with some grapes so the team can get a closer look at the wound.
Show me your neck. Show me your neck.
Let's have a look.
See your neck.
Shall I come with you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Come down.
Have you seen any sort of problems with her moving her head, her neck, or whatever?
Not at all.
It looks quite nasty, but chimps are tough animals, and Jeremy is more concerned about Patricia's introduction into the group.
He's being a prat, but he's not nasty. He's not really bright enough for the role that he's got. To a point, you can sympathise with Hananya, because she actually loves him, and he loves her, and she'll let him sort of get so close, and then when he wants to get a bit closer, she plays hard to get. She's a flirt. He's bound to wound him up. I don't blame him for thumping her, to be honest with you. No, I don't, because it's dreadful what she does to him. She's all over it. She won't leave him alone. But then, no, I don't want you now. Well, you can't do that to people. You shouldn't do that to people. So I'm really not surprised we've got this situation.
Park vet Femke has put Patricia on a course of antibiotics, and although it's an open wound, John seems happy with everything.
They're very good at healing, but, occasionally one will go wrong. So, yes, you have to go through the appropriate steps. She's having a painkiller and something to reduce the irritation. I can't do any more.
The team will not give up on Patricia, and they hope that she will soon relax around Hananya and settle into his group. Another chimp on the recovery list is Jimmy. He's going outside for the first time since the care staff noticed a wound to his leg. It's taken 2 months of intensive hands-on treatment by the primate care staff to heal Jimmy's wound. If they weren't so dedicated, Jimmy could have lost his leg. It's hoped a bit of fresh air and exercise will help the last stages of the healing process. Jimmy's lived with Paddy's chimp group for almost 20 years, but he was involved in a major dispute that resulted in the troop ousting him. So, for his own safety, he's moving next door to the bachelor pad. Jimmy has already met 5 of his rowdy new housemates, and today it's time for the next. He's meeting Spanish Charlie.
All the other introductions we've done inside, but because Spanish Charlie is a bit peculiar, he's a bit unique, I would rather do him outside, because he'll always, no matter what happens, when something abnormal happens, he'll always just sort of have a moment. It's the sort of thing you'd ought to be done in a large area rather than a small area, and then everybody can just leave him alone while he gets on with his displaying and all that sort of thing. He's a nutter.
Jimmy and Charlie lived together 10 years ago, and they were great friends, so it's hoped they'll pick up where they left off, as long as Charlie doesn't throw a wobbler.
Charlie's just proven me out to be a liar about doing all his displays and stuff, because it's not quite the display I thought he was going to do, but...
All seems calm, and a grooming session between the two is extremely positive. Despite Jeremy's concerns, the pair are getting along like old friends. Back with the Gibbons, it's now time for Zoe to meet her new man, Jake. The park's last Gibbon introduction didn't go well and resulted in Alex losing an arm. Zoe's past history with boys isn't too good either.
Zoe has had a divorce in the past. Raphael was not quite the man that she wanted in the end. She changed her mind, but that's a woman's prerogative. She wants more of a tough man, and Jake's that. But, he's not going to stand for any nonsense from her either.
The pair have been housed closely together indoors for some time, and so far, the signs are good. But as with Raphael and Alex, it's only when they finally meet that the team can tell if they will get along. So Wendy's on tenterhooks as the pair are given access together outside. Neither Jake nor Zoe got on well with their previous partners, so nobody really knows what's going to happen. The initial signs look good, as Zoe immediately starts grooming her new man. And it looks like the two of them have hit it off.
You never know what's going to happen with Gibbon introductions, but I think that has got to be possibly the best result we've ever had. Instant attraction to these two. They have been alongside each other for a little while now. But Zoe is such a tart at times, just making herself look as beautiful and as playful and as lovely as she possibly could. I think she's written the textbook on Gibbon introductions, and Jake has lapped it up in doses, and he's quite happy because she's sitting out there grooming with him, playing with him. He gets everything he wants. A big outside enclosure, a brand spanking new house, and a new woman to go with it too.
Next time, tough nut chimp Seamus shows he can still play nicely with the youngsters. There's some growing up to be done as orangutan Aris graduates from the nursery and meets bruiser Gordon.
Oh, good boy. No, careful. Careful, that's good. We're good.
And keeper Mike brings the woolly monkey baby down to meet his own kind for the very first time.
There. They're your little son. He's a handsome boy like you, isn't he?